everyone. Thank you for stopping by Living to Do's review of Married at First Sight, Season 17, Episode 4, called Goodbye Single Life, Hello Marriage. Before I get started with the review, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. Okay, so let's talk about this episode. This episode, they have their first night together and they meet with each other's friends and family before they head off to their honeymoon. And in this season, the couples are going to Cancun. So they're getting out of Denver, cold Denver, and they're headed to the sun. So that should be interesting. So let's talk about the first couple, Claire and Cameron. We learn something about Cameron. He seems a little standoffish when it comes to love, as far as being affectionate, which he believes that he got from his grandmother. He knows that his grandmother loved him dearly, but even though she didn't even ever say that to him, he knew that. And he has taken on some of those traits, how he shows affection. I guess he may do things more like acts of service type of thing before affection. So he's telling that to his wife. I find interesting. His wife meets with his friends and they tell her that he's super confident, strong, emotionally intelligent, and but they don't know if he is romantic. And what I'm getting from them is that he's very analytical. He's analytical in his romantic life. So there might be an issue with communication. I first thought they were telling a story how Cameron was not getting her bags at the airport, walking ahead of her, and she thought, he should be standing next to her getting the bags, but she told him that that she is an independent woman. So analytically, he believes she can get her own bag and she doesn't care if he walks ahead of her. In that way, I think he also needs to know just to be a gentleman. And that would be to get the bags. And if she was a man or a woman, if you go somewhere in a group, you're traveling, why would you walk ahead of them? Things like that. So those kinds of things he can work on. Might be an issue there. I don't know why he wouldn't think an independent woman or anybody else, you don't stay with the group type thing. But this is your new wife. But so what else did we learn about them? We learned they get to their hotel and Claire is saying to Cameron she believes that they're not there romantically. And she's telling him, right? Seeing if he agrees with what she's saying. The thing is, she needs to read the room. She needs to be more mindful of him. Because even though he's analytical, he didn't express in that moment that he is thinking of her romantically. And I guess to save face, he just doesn't, he agrees with her. And I think he's also surprised that she is not there or looks at him in that way. So that is going to be interesting to watch that unfold. Though she does tell him that she wants to be cared for. She needs to, he needs to show her, I guess he is interested, and she just wants to know that somebody. I guess she wants a man in her life, and so let's see if he can live up to that. Though I think a lot of the issue is he's too analytical, and I don't think she is understanding him. I think she's trying to just get some of her own needs met and not slowing down to find out what his needs are and how what his love language is. So that is going to be interesting. Okay, let's on to the next couple. Okay, the next couple is Emily and Brennan. And I have the least amount to say about this couple. even though Emily is very much a firecracker and you would think a lot of things would go on, she met with his family and they told her that, and his friend, I think his friend Richie, but they told her that he can be abrupt. He gets annoyed when things don't go his way. And the mother thinks that both Emily and Brennan are stubborn, and the father thinks that's going to be a problem. And Brennan, he talked to her family, and I guess she works a lot, and they wanted to know if that's going to be a problem in their relationship. And he said something like, it's not going to be a problem if there's a lot of working, too much working, and there's no communication. There will be issues. The way he came off with that seemed a little harsh. It seemed like, oh, there's going to be a real problem. Other than it should have been more of, that's something we can talk about later. Yeah, I want to have a work life balance in my marriage, that type of thing. But the way he came across, if they edited it right, it seemed a little too much um, force about that, too much aggression, I should say, about that little issue. So these, scenarios, if they make you say things like that, what would happen in the real life? So maybe he is a little too, you know, um, rough around the edges. We have to see. I don't know if he was very optimistic in how, this new relationship is going to be tough. Again, it wasn't too reassuring. You know, it was like he really thinks I don't know. The way they edited it, you made me think that maybe he was honest in saying, yeah, this is a real tough thing, and I don't know, how it's going to be. It's really going to be tough, that type of thing, instead of, that's something that we have to work on. Nothing's easy, but if it's worth it, you'll work towards it and work hard at it. I didn't get that vibe from him. So that's really all I have to say about those two. Okay, so on to the next. Okay, the next couple up will be Lauren and Orion. They get together, and their first night together, Lauren shares her bonnet with her new husband. He has a lot of hair, and she is giving him a bonnet. And in their confessionals together, he says, "We're bonnet buddies." There's nothing less romantic. Anyway, apparently they did not consummate their marriage, which is cool. They want to build a real bond. And okay, let's see how that goes. And we learned that he likes to be quiet in the mornings. Now, she didn't say she liked to be quiet in the mornings, but she's ready to compromise. Everything's new. We're truly in the honeymoon stage. So we'll see how she feels about that later. Um, Lauren met with his sister and mother, and before she met with him, he informed her or prepared her that his mother and sister are headstrong, and they're the ones that rule the family. They have a matriarch in their family, and they talk briefly about Lauren's father and how he can be, and luckily that Orion would not be meeting with her father. So when she goes to meet with his family, mother and sister, we never really saw any tough questions coming from them. I didn't hear much from the mother. There were some looks that the mother was giving Lauren. I don't know if they were just the way it was edited, but she didn't look all that happy when she was looking at her. It was just more, not even of a looking, I'm just looking at you because I'm intensely listening to you. It was more of a skeptical look, I would have to say. And then um they seemed to like her, or the sister seemed to like her. But when Orion met with Lauren's friends and family, mainly her brother, now they seemed a little cold. That conversation, there was questions asked, serious questions about how does it feel to be married to Lauren, a black woman, and he was saying proudly that it makes him feel empowered. So I don't know if he really, if it's just something he's saying, to make the situation look its best, or if he really actually feels that way. They did ask him about his finances, and he said that he's financially stable with a check coming in, which then it makes me think a check coming in. It's like you get handyman work or you get work here or there, and nothing like it's not like I'm an accountant, so we understand that a check's coming in. The way you answered it, it's like uh, I'm not really employed by a corporation or anything, and but I get work. I get work. Not like I have a steady job, but I get work. That's how it sounded. And when the overall meeting, when you would just look at the table and how the questions were being asked, very monotone, that meeting did not look joyous at all. So I think that family has a lot of warming up to do when it comes to Orion, from what I can see. All right, let's see. There is one more couple. Last couple is Becca and Austin. Okay, so they get into their hotel room and they get on their PJs, commenting on her PJs. Those PJs look so not for your wedding night, even though nothing's going to happen. It just, those PJs gave that she received those 3 Christmases ago. I think she should have spruced it up just a little bit. Let's see here. I thought Becca looked better in the morning than she did on her wedding day. And she confided in her husband that she's in constant pain and about her autoimmune disease and her surgery. We didn't see a lot of detail of what she said about the surgery, about, possibly not having kids, but she did mention the pain, and the pain is normal to her. She doesn't want to feel like a burden to anybody. This girl, she always stays in a good mood, and she doesn't appear like she's in pain. And this guy, he's such a sweet guy. He seems to take it all in and not back away from it, run from it. I wonder if he's thinking, what's this, my luck? I know sickness and in health, but like on day one, uh, so far so good. I mean, the way he reacted, I couldn't tell by his facial expressions that he was um, extremely disappointed by that good actor or very compassionate. I just couldn't tell by his eyes, his face. They met with each other's friends and family, and her friends told him that she does have serious health issues. One of her friends was even tearing up about it, how she toughed it out alone, having the surgery and the holidays by herself, and she really downplays her health issues. And he seemed to, again, seem to be empathetic to that. He felt bad that she was alone during the holidays and that she's in pain. Maybe he understands more of the seriousness about it. They told him that they will be and that they are his support, um, for her, his support group, and he welcomes that. And he would like to, discuss her further if needed, if he needs someone to talk to. So they're building, it looks like, a good, meaningful relationship as a support unit, and she doesn't even know about it yet. So it's still moving in the right direction. He is a sweetheart. Now, his mother told her, do not hurt her son. Apparently that's the only child, and that she trusts her. The mother trusts Becca not to hurt her son's heart. So we'll see how. I don't know. I didn't know if I thought this was going to make it, but they're talking about some real life issues. Um, they're looking into, they're not running away from it. So far, so good. So maybe this could work. I don't know. One more thing happened, and that was Michael, who was left at the altar, joined the group before they took off to Cancun. And they even invited him to the honeymoon, but he didn't go. But Michael said some really moving things. Another very highly intelligent, emotionally intelligent man, which that makes him just more attractive. He talked about how he didn't get to talk to the bride. That he even said something that came to the altar and stood there for a second and then said she can't marry a stranger. Also, to me, somewhat implied that it was his looks, maybe that was something she was so turned off about that she just had to go right back down that aisle. I'm sure we'll get to the truth eventually. And they wanted to know if he thinks he deserved an apology from her. He said he didn't think he deserved an apology for what she thought was best for her. Again, emotionally intelligent. The way they talked about how he um, remained composed during all this very hurtful things, and they admire that about him. And it's the way he was able to express what was going on effectively, and by doing so, I think they, at a whole group all at once, they felt what it would be like, and they gave him, emotional support. Uh, and they wanted to continue a friendship with him so much so that they invited him to the honeymoon, which was nice. He just sent them off, and he says one thing is he was really jealous of all of their cuteness. I just really liked what how he just carried himself. I hope they do something nice for him. He deserves great things in his life. He went through a lot. One thing that did happen, they were all sitting together as a group, and they were discussing that they were going to go to Cancun, and um, one of the guys, I think it was Brennan, that said, one thing about Cancun, you can't go too far off the reservation. And if you didn't, I never thought about it, but we have Oren sitting there who was Native American Indian, and Oren stood up for himself and his culture, and he said something about that was just ignorant. Um, but it rolled off his back. But we got to be very, or I would have said the same thing and thought nothing of it. Not to be no type of disrespect in any kind of way. There's just little sayings that you say, and they just been said for so long, you just don't really think about, oof, that might hurt someone. And that's one of the ones and of course he didn't mean anything about it, but um, when he called the man ignorant, Lauren stepped up and said, it's not a bad thing to be called ignorant. It's just something you don't know. That's all it is. So, yeah, I would have done the same thing, totally apologize, but it's just little sayings. We got so many of them. And we put ourselves a foot in our mouths sometimes when we use them. But that is it for now. I want to thank everyone for staying with me to the end. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. And please check out my channel because I have other videos from past seasons of Married at First Sight, movie, TV reviews, hotel, and food reviews. I thank you so much for staying with me, and I have to go because I got living to do. Bye.